Hello everyone, you are watching Wirtschaft TV. I am Manuel Koch, and joining me now here on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange is Brian Barnier of ValueBridge Advisors. Brian, thank you so much for joining us.
Always glad to be here.
Brian, at the moment the German stock markets are on pretty high levels. Do you see any risks coming up, for example Greece, that cause bigger trouble?
Yes, of course. The big shocks that are out there, including the immigration and taxation and fiscal policy, all those are issues. The good news about those is most of those take a long time to develop, except for, say, war or conflict. So therefore, investors have a clear view of those pieces. But yes, it's a concern.
A big topic, of course, is the ECE QE program. Do you think it's ineffective?
Absolutely. The QE has had trouble for a long time now. All it can basically do is import inflation with prices as it devalues. The big problem, mistake that Mario Draghi's making is he's not realized how dramatic the economy has changed. It's no longer supply constrained. It's about consumers and people and what they're buying. So today, when you raise prices, you cut consumption. And therefore, when he keeps trying to do QE and he keeps having problems, that's what he's missing. That's the big change. Consumers are in charge. Until he learns that, he's going to have trouble. It's like the game Minecraft, where the kids play it and you can create resources. It's easy to create more products. There's not as a compliance constraint like there used to be. So that's why we say Mario can't fight Minecraft.
But when it is all about consumers, should he send the helicopters with the helicopter money?
That just makes it worse. Because now he's going out there and he's throwing out more money, he's devaluing the euro. That's creating more trouble for the strongest economies like Germany, for example, where it bids up their stock market even more. That's why with the flight to safety is creating a non-trivial bubble in the German market.
So how could an exit strategy look like?
So the first piece is just sort of the unwinding, but the second piece is and that's, by the way, a conversation around the world with the US Fed and Japan and everything. The more important thing is what the German government's been advocating for, and that's the structural. In the US we call it the regulatory reforms, because it's the cheapest way to do the most to boost growth, and when you can boost growth, that helps take away some of that strain that's in the marketplace.
So when we hear all this, do you think the German stock market is in a bubble right now?
Right, exactly. So you can just see if you look at the DAX or the CDAX that it's pretty high. But when you really see that it's high is when you take that and you set it relative to the business gross domestic product or business gross value added, as they say in Europe more. And that's the value of the output, or sales minus inventory. When you do that, Germany has the highest strain in their market of any industrialized country in the world, even more than the US with all the QE that we've put into it. That's scary, and when you combine that with the fact that German banks are also under strain right now, high strain in the markets, high strain in the banks, no wonder the German government is really concerned and very concerned with what Mario Draghi is doing.
So do you think a crash is coming very soon?
It depends on policy. So this is where those actions that are being taken, the things that were discussed with the OECD, the speeches that you see coming out are very, very important. Because in terms of the crash coming, there's the shock things, right? It's war, disease, conflict, that kind of stuff. That can let the market out, and that's where these untested derivatives are going to be very, very important. The other piece is this long thing that goes with the unwinding, that goes with the structural reforms. And if those can actually work, then it takes the strain out, and then there's no pop to worry about in the first place. That's why policy really matters, and investors need to be very, very focused on what's happening.
You already mentioned the banks, they're stressed. Could this be a bigger problem?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and this is something that's been fought for a while, because remember, the ECB from one hand is putting out the money, devaluing the currency. People are scared. They run to the German, the strongest market, but they overinflate the market. On the other hand, everything that's going on with the banks is difficult, right? Because there's a whole deleveraging that hasn't taken place. And this is where the German government has been concerned about the deleveraging. We've got it here in the States and every country that's highly levered. And that's the big problem, right? Because as long as that sits out there, that's going to hang on the market. That's why the structural reform is so important. And that's why Mario Draghi's failure to understand that we've switched from a supply-constrained economy to a demand-driven economy is so terrible, because he keeps trying to fight the fact that mobile phones are faster, better, cheaper. And he can't beat the mobile phone. He can't beat Minecraft, he can't beat the mobile phone.
So I think we will keep an eye on the central banks for a long time. Brian Barnier of ValueBridge Advisors, thank you so much for the interview. Appreciate your time, and thank you for watching Wirtschaft TV.